Hello, EDUC 713. I want to give you information about Module 2 in case you want to work ahead. I do want to point out that the assignments for Module 2 are not due until July 30th, but some of you want to work ahead so that you can fit in all the great activities you have going on this summer, and I certainly can understand and appreciate that. I hope you find this second module to be very manageable. And then speaking of that, I think I will bring up the calendar here and just talk to you about dates and when I'm going to be releasing the course. So I already released Module 1 on July 10. I'll be releasing Module 2 on July 17th, Module 3 on July 24th, which is the official first day of class, and Module 4 on July 31st. I did work with our program director to come up with a schedule that makes sense. I do certainly understand that you want to work ahead. At the same time, we want to have somewhat of a scheduled release so that everybody's on the same page. Hopefully discussions are a little richer that way. So this second module is really looking at classroom spaces and the role of the computer lab and how you might teach depending on the different scenarios you find yourself in. And I will unhide this area once I'm done with this recording, and it won't be gray for you. But the first box you'll see here is the Module 2 overview, and that just gives you the standards that we're covering in this module. Again, the bolded parentheses are the new ISTE standards for teachers. Okay, the next part, welcome to week 2. That's where you found this recording. And then before you post to the forum, there's a couple of pieces I want you to look at. Again, I've updated all these articles so that they are 2014 or newer. So you're going to look at technology over time. There's several different articles that I've linked in here. A really neat blog post, I think, Computer Lab's Dead or Just Dying for a Modern Makeover, and then Computer Lab Accessibility Guidelines. So inside the technology over time articles, we're talking about some different trends. Why Facebook faces a foggy future. It does bring up some of the privacy issues that Mark Zuckerberg ran into lately that I'm sure you heard about in the news. And why it seems like every site we go to now is always telling us about our privacy settings and our cookies. That's real important there. Idea to retire: technology alone can improve student learning. This article gets at the fact that student learning is probably holistic, and that it's not just technology itself, but certainly technology can be a help. When we're looking at change, I think one of the greatest leaders that I've come across in my research, and I did get to hear him speak at the TIES conference, is George Couros. If I'm saying that correctly, he's Canadian. He has a great website. I certainly don't expect you to read everything on his website, but if you want to skim, at least skim it, and then at least the portion on his book, Mindset, because that is about innovation and change. Then many of you probably are familiar with Thomas Friedman's book, The World is Flat, and this article rebuts that a little bit, saying the world is still not flat. There's not quite equality there. And then the last two articles are from The Journal, if you're familiar with that. And the first one is about the virtual school outlook through 2019 and education technology trends. They give you 4 trends that are kind of up and coming. I don't think any of these articles are particularly long, and I think they give you a good overview of what's going on right now in the education technology space. Okay, going back. Computer Lab's Dead or Just Dying for a Makeover, that talks about, do we still need dedicated spaces for computer labs, or can we move into the idea of flexible seating and devices? What layout is best, and of course that is interesting when it comes to standardized testing and so forth. Definitely a conversation that I think schools everywhere are having, and I know that we don't always have the money to overhaul everything at once, and so I feel like you'll find every state of computer lab or former computer lab depending on where you're at. And then finally, I found an article about computer lab accessibility guidelines, because that is an issue as well. When we're looking at designing space, we want to make sure that it's accessible for everyone, including people with disabilities. So I'm going to have you read those, and then there are 2 discussion questions this week. So the first one is pulling on that physical space of classroom environments. Here's your question. Describe a situation in which you're challenged to adapt your instructional process to a particular technology classroom configuration. What was challenging about that experience? If you could have changed the environment, what would you have done? What do you think is the most effective generic layout from the information in the articles you read, and why? I'm sure we've all been there, whether we're dealing with an operating system we're not used to, or the projector situation is not as good as we would have liked, or the physical layout of the classroom is challenging. I want to hear about your challenges. I think that'll be helpful for everyone, and maybe we will have some insight for each other. The next forum, I guess this always brings me up to the top. Oops, sorry about all this scrolling. Is the changing role of the classroom teacher. So list what you think are the 3 most important technological changes coming to school environments, and you're going to get that from the Computer Labs article as well as the articles from The Journal. And in what ways will they change the role of the classroom teacher? Then we switch gears a little bit. Some believe there's no longer a place for traditional printed textbooks in the classroom. Do you agree with this? Why or why not? Would you want to be a teacher if you were strictly in a mentor role? Why or why not? This YouTube video, I promise, is only about 2 minutes long, but I think that sums up the digital learner anyway and will help you reflect on the changing role of the classroom teacher. I'm very interested to hear what you think about these 2 topics. Okay. The assignment for Module 2 is really not that bad. I don't think it's that painful at all. So what you're going to be doing for assignment number 2 is you're going to be writing a paper. And the paper is going to be no longer than 3 to 4 pages and includes a table with it. So I'm going to click on the information here, the hand with the paper. Please note again, it's due by Monday, July 30th at 11:59 p.m. So here it is. Consider a class you currently teach and share how you would teach it in each of 3 different technology settings. Put your thoughts in a 3-page paper, double-spaced, except for the table below, which should remain single-spaced. The title page does not count as one of your 3 pages. So here are the 3 scenarios you're going to work with. You are teaching in a classroom that has 1 computer for each student. You are teaching in a classroom that only has 2 computers. You are teaching in an online class. I'm sure you've seen all 3 of these in your various settings. After completing the table and inserting it into your paper, discuss the benefits and disadvantage of each environment for the students and teachers. The response can be relatively informal. We're not going to require APA formatting with this, but I still require high quality mechanics and organization. Reminder, there are no contractions in academic writing. The rubric is here. Okay, if we go back to our course and scroll down here to Module 2. Okay, there is the table already made out for you. It's right here. And when you click on it, it does an automatic download. So I'll just get that. Here it is. Okay, so basically you can do your thinking here on this table and then write your paper and then include both the paper and the table in your assignment. And if you want to keep the whole assignment, this landscape view, that's certainly fine. So it lists the 3 scenarios across the top, and then here's some questions you need to answer. Hopefully this stimulates your thinking for some of the teaching spaces you're already in. Okay, and with that, the last thing that I want to point out is that there is a rubric, and I believe the rubric's in your syllabus as well, but go ahead and look through the rubric so you make sure you've got everything you need. It's right here, and that will download automatically as well. Okay, so this will tell you exactly what you need to have included in your paper so that you are set up for success. So there you go. Again, none of this is due until Monday, July 30th, but I wanted to make sure you had all the information you needed so you could get a head start if you so desire. I will grade all the assignments once we hit the due date. And that way, everything's being graded at once and it is consistent. Thank you for all of your hard work so far, and certainly if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I hope you're enjoying your summer. Take care.